I have some magnets, refrigerator thing. What else do I have? Underwear. Let's see. This says, waiting the table, the long table at the Last Supper. Welcome to the Galilee. I am your waiter for the evening. What will it be? Christ's sakes, there's a lot of you. The fish? Better not. Dirty footprints on the water this morning. A little blasphemy never hurt any poetry. The broadside is a poem I wrote for a buddy, Noah Nelson. He gave me the idea for it from a song of his. And the poem is The Double Jeopard Leopard. You won't find the double jeopard leopard in the same spots twice. When he's found them, he tiptoes around them, ever so carefully and awarefully quiet. Walks between them, avoiding the ones not dry yet. By the way, if you don't like rhyming poetry, too goddamn bad. Mostly, I write silly shit. I was telling a lady at a party, she asked me what I wrote. I said silly shit. I didn't know she was a psychoanalyst. So, I think she followed me around the rest of the night, just telling people to stay away from him. Let's see here. Started off with a little one. There's going to be mostly little ones tonight. One time, Eva and I were in Pajaro Dunes.
Yeah.
I found out that I can't stand the sound of the ocean.
Yeah.
So we had this condo on the dunes, 20 feet off the water. I couldn't stand it. So I went in, closed the windows, the doors, everything, and I wrote like a 40-minute vampire poem for the rest of the week. And then I started on the mummies and everything else. This one's called Balloons. The life one leads has a happy ending and is not cheated if one goes out like an untied balloon, loosed and escaping, too fast for the human eye, with a raspberry sound. Okay, this is a poetry poem. It's called Operator. When you find the phone booth, you make the call. Hello, God. I want to speak to Shel Silverstein. Then I want to talk to that Italian poet guy, what's his name? And if he isn't there, put that Poe fellow on. I never had a chance to invite any of them over for coffee or beer. Okay, another shorty. I'm not opposing the slothy little Mr. Possum, but I am supposing it's not polite to pick him up and toss him. Okay, let's get into the naked stuff. It's called Mornings. When I go out for the newspaper or something, it's like, the old dawn and yawn. Bend over for the newspaper in a box on the lawn. Ass scratching, back arching, greeting old Mrs. Brown. No shorts and maybe one shoe, ruining her day too. Here's a little sweetie. This one, Richard Hansen. I don't know if you remember the book collector bookstore. He used to do these little poems. And he put this one out. It's called The Lamp. She rubbed the lamp, wished her only wish. And with that gentleness her mother used so long ago, while she sat still, the genie brushed her hair. That's an awe, right, Bill? Okay. We got an awe poem. Okay, we can do awes. Okay, threads. Once I pulled on a thread and pulled and pulled. A long thread. I pulled and I pulled. First there was a little pile of thread, then there was a big pile of thread. I pulled and pulled more. My fingers got tired, then my arms, but still the thread came along. I don't know why the sweater did not unravel, but now for some reason, I can't find my wife anywhere. Or my street, or my relatives, or my ancestors. And now I am in a swamp, and there are dinosaurs around. Do you suppose time really is a fabric? And pardon me, but you have this thread hanging. Let me get it for you. Okay, this one's a little tribute to an old movie called The Graduate. It's called Benjamin's at the Bottom of the Pool Again. Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. Paul Simon. His breathing apparatus producing bubbles of cartoon thoughts. Benjamin's at the bottom of the pool again, pretending he has not been born yet. Benjamin's at the bottom of the pool again, thinking about the choices he has made. Only a little disappointed in himself in his conduct with Mrs. Robinson. Somehow, Benjamin knew plastics was far from the answer. Maybe he was wrong about that. How big a deal was graduating? How big a deal was the deep end of his life now? Elaine meant everything to him. But going back and back again to Mrs. Robinson, a woman who after a 2-cocktail lunch could scarce scrape Benjamin off the ceiling, at parties when she walked by him with her nose so far in the air, it was a behavior he did not understand. He never pictured her except in bra and panties, her breasts as firm as those orders she gave. Benjamin's at the bottom of the pool again, with the sound of silence and bubbles. There's one for South Cal. It's called The Callback. I don't telephone Los Angeles friends. Their blood pressure is already too high. They equate the ring of the phone with news from God that they're special after all. They get bothered if the Grim Reaper was at the doorbell. One told Death, no, I can't. I am due at a callback. Death, it is reported, said, wow, 2 in one day. You like fish? There we go. Carpe this. Carp take exception to that connection, seizing no day. A little known contrafact about carp in the main. They are not ones to complain or explain. Sure, it does not make their lips any prettier, but there you are about carp. Okay, this is true story, okay? Sorry, Bill, but I had to do it. True story.
True story.
I recognize the trademark on it.
They hang with you forever.
Yeah. It's called Pickle Dancer. You know when you're driving your car and sometimes you just see these people with the goddamn signs going all over crazy. Pickle Dancer stopped at a long dumb light, the air conditioning up high. I see him full motion. He's dancing in a pickle suit. Why? I don't know. Beyond the pay, I'm sure the answer is layered. I wish his sign said something I could understand dancing about. A newborn, a lottery win, a very good wager. This is probably better work in the winter, but not as good now in the humid summer. If I was desperate, I would do this too. Yeah. But at my advanced age, the pickling process is far underway. And while I don't sign dance on street corners, I can relate to the sourly disposed. The dancing looks like good exercise, something I could use. I will pray to St. Vitus on odd-numbered days for the ability to attract pickle customers. On even-numbered days, I will stick to my worship of climate control. Okay, here's a grandma poem.
Wow.
Yay.
Be nice.
Not a chance.
There's a few grandmas in the room.
I like them.
She's dead.
We're taking grandma on a trip. We'll proceed at a scenery-chewing clip. She might be old and sluggish. She might be human luggage. She's going to like it if it kills her. But if the bouncing really kills her, a mirror at her lips will suffice to tell us if we need a bigger cooler and a lot more ice. Whoa, for the grandmas. Okay. Don't piss off the grandmas. There's a little one that's almost a limerick. I told Pat I'm going to try and change it into a limerick one of these days. It's called In the Meadow. In the meadow, the loudest was Billy the Cricket. If fair lady showed faint heart, Billy would nick it. He'd run up the longest song and never tire. On one hot day, at super cricket speed, wouldn't you know, he set his own ass on fire. There you are about crickets. How about turtles? Yes. Now, they tell me that these days it's illegal to have those little turtles like we had when we were kids.
Yeah.
The little plastic water dish with the island and the palm trees stuck in it. This is called the self-cleaning oven pet cremation song. Or Little Nell. I'm oh so sadly sad. My little green turtle Tad, in a plastic dish with a palm tree on an island soaked, looked up at me a last time and croaked, and didn't move no matter how hard I poked. Arrangements tomorrow at noon, because the house won't be empty until that soon, and I can close away all my grief and turtle lovin' when I put Tad Turtle in our self-cleaning oven. And set the dial to 11, locking up Tad Turtle's big door to heaven. Without involving sibling or parental exposure, it's me, the only loved one who really needs closure, because that's what you do as a Galapagos host when Turtle Tad turns turtle ghost. And his remains need to become little turtle toast. I just need to paint a flag on his shell and probably leave in his guts as well. And with praying hands, listen for when the timer chimes his little knell. And then I'll dustbuster his ashes without even smiling and bury him at sea at the coast off his island. Okay, music poem. This is called Young Flugel's Horrible Band Practice Session. Young and curious Flugel should have stuck to the bugle. He and the euphonium created much pandemonium by falling into its bell and starting to crawl the wrong way throughout it all. He crawled along the tubing curves, making all the wrong turns and swerves like a little pig through a snake, finally managing a peek from the mouthpiece to take. His little eye imploring for someone to see and blow him free in a giant huff of a forte minor D. Okay, we got gators. Not to see you later, gators, but the elevator gator. The elevator gator lives on the 10th floor of that condo tree in the swamp. No one knew what he was doing when on his balcony barbecuing, He fell off and landed with a mushy, squishy swamp. With amazing luck, he survived that muck, but forever after, he suffered the laughter of creatures who'd snicker and drooly, bubbly sneeze at his new folded up gator knees. So if you wonder why, you know, yeah, elevator gators.
I don't know,
Okay, let's talk about God. Quick one about God. It's called Who Knows Where an Idea Starts? Who knows where an idea starts? Can't all be chalked up to brainy smarts. I'm looking at clouds and thinking fluffy godly farts. That those cumuli and cirri floating across a serene and sunny sky are but remnants of the deity's Last Supper and gas. At thousands of feet, there's your clue on the size of that almighty ass. Our skyscraping, rumbling thunderclouds betray God's been at the Frijoles today. And all that rolling air is God's way of saying, don't go in there. Little short one. It's called Tripping Over Poe, Edgar. It must have been the laudanum, because here we are, still applauding them. That's it. Eva's vampire story. There's a vampire across my campfire. I don't want to be impolite, but I hope he hasn't stopped for a bite. Over my shoulder, without looking, he asked, what's cooking? I said, steak, and didn't see him fly, but he was gone without so much as a kiss my ass or bye-bye.
that guy.
Shorty for visiting far-off relatives or new people. With very shirt-tail foreign linkage, I find the best hospitality to be much wine glass clinkage. That's pretty much the way I get out of Bill's way. And I have Mr. Gaynor come up here.
Oh.
All right.